This documentary is scripted and edited by Neha Dash. This documentary is scripted and edited by Neha Dash. Ranking the 20 best teams in the history of the Football World Cup, which written by Neha Dash for public domain purpose only. The Football World Cup is the place where a team can become immortal. The good football teams shine in any old arena. Great teams are made on the World Cup's stage. If you perform at the game's global summit, immortality awaits. The most obvious way to achieve long-lasting renown is by winning the tournament. However, as this list demonstrates, it's also possible to be remembered without lifting the ultimate prize. Go to the next slide to begin the countdown of the 20 greatest teams in the history of the World Cup. So our list, which represented by Neha Dash for public domain purpose only. 1. Brazil 1971. Brazil 1970. The Brazil team of 1970 is the greatest in the history of the World Cup. No team has ever dominated a tournament in the manner that the Seleção did during that summer. The Brazilians did more than win the tournament. They inspired a generation. There was something almost supernatural about the play, typified by that unforgettable Carlos Alberto goal during the final against Italy. That moment, and this team will be remembered forever. Who do you think is 2. West Germany 1974. 2. West Germany 1974. After claiming the European Championships in 1972, West Germany graduated to dominate on the world stage in 1974. This team was built around stylish swooper Franz Beckenbauer, who commanded his troops from the back of the field. Up top, they were able to call on the predatory instincts of Gerd Müller. 3. Spain 2010. Spain 2010. Angel Martinez / Getty Images. The all-conquering Spain team of 2010 would have been fit to grace any World Cup. Their tiki-taka style suffocated opponents, lulling them into a state of exhaustion that allowed the likes of Xavi, Andres Iniesta and Xabi Alonso to pick them off at will. 4. Brazil 1958. Brazil 1958. Associated Press. Brazil beat host Sweden 5-2 to lift the 1958 World Cup. During that game, Pelé simultaneously became the youngest player to play a World Cup final, the youngest scorer in a World Cup final, and the youngest player to win a World Cup winners' medal. It wasn't just the teenage Pelé who made this team great. This is were all heroes, and they are revered as legends for bringing Brazil their first ever World Cup. 5. Brazil 1962. Brazil 1962. Associated Press. Any team that wins 2 successive World Cups must contain some pretty remarkable elements. That Brazil managed it without their best player, the injured striker Pelé, tells you just how special they were. Concerns over Pelé's absence from the latter stages was assuaged by the sheer brilliance of Garrincha, who starred in the final as Brazil cemented their position as the world's greatest team. 6. Brazil 1982. 6. Brazil 1982. The Brazil team of 1982 are often the greatest international side to have failed to win the World Cup. This was an archetypal Brazilian side, full of skill and providing magical moments aplenty. The likes of Zico, Socrates, and Ida made them worth successors to the iconic team of 1970. Their exit against Italy was a huge shock, but it does little to rob them of their undisputed brilliance. 7. Hungary 1954. Hungary 1954. Bela Sandelski / Associated Press. By the legendary Ferenc Puskás, this team were known across the globe as the Magical Magyars. Despite an incredible set of performances in the tournament, beating Brazil and Uruguay along the way, the Hungarians suffered a shock defeat to West Germany in the 1954 final. It was their only defeat in 50 international matches between 1950 and 1956. 8. Netherlands 1978. Netherlands 1978. Carlo Fumagalli / Associated Press. One of the greatest teams in the history of this competition is also one responsible for losing successive finals. After defeat against West Germany in 1974, the Dutch were heartbroken to fall at the last hurdle once again in 1978. This time, it was the Argentines who saw them off. In hindsight, Netherlands' failure to claim the World Cup during the 1970s is a sporting injustice. 9. Brazil 2002. Brazil 2002. David Guttenfelder / Associated Press. This side are the only Brazilian team to have won 7 games in a World Cup tournament. They cruised to the title, outscoring their opponents by 18 goals to 4. They could defend as well as attack. They conceded just 1 goal in the knockout stages. With Ronaldo scoring 8 times, they were both an irresistible force and an immovable object. 10. Netherlands 1974. Netherlands 1974. Anonymous / Associated Press. The Dutch have a nasty habit of producing great sides that fail to crown their success with a trophy. That was particularly true in the 1970s. In 1974, the Dutch reached the final with their compelling brand of total football, but came up short against rivals West Germany. Nevertheless, their attractive style of play is still celebrated to this day. 11 Italy 1938 Italy 1938 Anonymous/Associated Press Legendary tactician Vittorio Pozzo became the first, and, so far, only coach to win 2 World Cups, reprising his 1934 success with Italy, to beat Hungary 4-2 in the 1938 final. The team's star player was Giuseppe Meazza, whose name now lends itself to Milan's iconic San Siro Stadium. 12 West Germany 1990 West Germany 1990 ROBERTOPFEIL/Associated Press. This German team went 3 years with just one competitive defeat. Having reached the semi-finals in Euro 1988, they progressed to win the World Cup in 1990. Franz Beckenbauer, who dominated the World Cup as a player, was the manager who led a team including the likes of Rudi Völler and Jurgen Klinsmann to victory. 13 France 1998 France 1998 Michel Lipchitz/Associated Press. In 1998, hosts France won the tournament without losing a single game. What's more, they conceded just 2 goals in the entire competition. In the final, they thrashed Brazil 3-0. Their victory was absolutely emphatic. 14 Uruguay 1930 Uruguay 1930 Uncredited/Associated Press. The Uruguay team of 1930 demolished the opposition, scoring 15 goals in the tournament and conceding just 3. In the final, they overcame neighbors and rivals Argentina to become the inaugural World Cup winners. 15 Italy 1982 Italy 1982 Associated Press. Surrounded by scandal, this Italy team emerged from disarray to win the World Cup. They didn't even win any of their group games, playing out 3 draws, before they exploded in the latter stages. They beat both Argentina and Brazil on the way to victory, with Golden Boot winner Paolo Rossi grabbing a hat-trick against the latter. Not bad for slow starters. 16 Uruguay 1950 Uruguay 1950 Anonymous/Associated Press. Brazilian newspapers declared their national team as world champions on the eve of the 1950 final. They had a shock coming. Uruguay pulled off an unexpected 2-1 win at the Maracana to send shock waves through world football. However, it shouldn't have been such an enormous surprise. In the likes of Alcides Giguia and Juan Chiafino, Uruguay had access to some superb talent. This team deserves more credit than merely being seen as plucky underdogs. 17 Argentina 1986 Argentina 1986 Associated Press. This side are often wrongfully regarded as a one-man team. Although Diego Maradona was doubtless instrumental to their World Cup success, he was surrounded by a side who played with aggression, intelligence and no lack of skill. 18 West Germany 1954 West Germany 1954 Anonymous/Associated Press. Hungary and West Germany had played each other just 3 weeks before they met in the 1954 World Cup final. On that occasion, the Hungarians emerged as 8-3 victors. However, come the final, the Germans got the job done. The Hungarians had a superb attack, but the Germans had the tactical nous to exploit their defensive weakness. This team achieved greatness by learning from their heavy defeat and adapting accordingly for the final. 19 England 1966 England 1966 STR/Associated Press. England may have had the advantage of being on home soil, but their World Cup winning side was still a force to be reckoned with. The likes of Bobby Charlton gave them real attacking force, and their extra-time victory over West Germany made the 1966 final one of the most dramatic in World Cup history. 20 France 1986 France 1986 Rudi Blaha/Associated Press. The France team of the 1986 World Cup did not leave as winners, but they did make an enormous impact upon the tournament. Inspired by the all-action midfield displays of Michel Platini, the European champions made the semi-finals before being eliminated by a West German side, reaching their second final in succession. This French team arguably underachieved in 1986, given their remarkable collection of talent.